Hi guys, hope you all are good. So today we have to talk about Redux and how do we use it with React. So Redux is basically a central state management library and it can work with any JavaScript application, which in our case is going to be a React application, of course. So it says it manages a state. What does this state mean actually? In actual, any application, no matter what kind, always possesses a state. For example, an operating system state would be its currently running processes, right? Running or waiting, or what amount of hard disk this OS uses, and etc. Many more properties. This defines the current state of an operating system, right? So this is basically what? A snapshot? Right. So this is basically a snapshot of an application at a particular instant of time. So now look at this Yahoo application, and its current state is also comprised of what it is displaying, right? And many more things, but what it is displaying is also making up its current state. So these trendings right here, or you'll see the current breaking news or the ads, right? All will change if will come tomorrow, right? But at this particular instant, all this data you can see makes up its current state, right? So Redux says I can store this state, right? I can store this particular state of an web application. And a second term that comes with me is management. That is all about how would you like to change this particular state, right? So you can give so many triggers. You can say that if somebody presses this page, somebody presses this button, you have to refresh this page, and lot more triggers could be there in an applications. On those triggers, you want some actions to be taken in order to change this particular state, right? So binding a state and a state updating logic together in a Redux store gives us a centralized sense of storing something at a central place, basically an abstraction it gives. And this is Redux, okay? So let's understand this all scenario with an example. Here we have two things. So the first in the left side is our Redux store, and on the right we have a web application which comprises of a lot of components. This green circle, gray box, all these are components. So main focus component at the moment is this gray one, right? Which is subscribed to our store. So let's see that. This gray component is subscribed to our store, and yes, it's just like any YouTube channel. So if there's some of your favorite channels, you would subscribe to them in order to know about the latest content updations, right? So whenever these videos are added on a channel, you need to subscribe to and will get notified about that, and you can watch them. So if a component want a notification about a state change because they want the data for processing their UI at some time, it has to subscribe to this store. So initially this store is given a default state object which can only be altered or replaced by the state that the reducer returns. Reducers are simple JavaScript functions. At this moment our state have this object which contains a property name. This name is given to our application, and hence the UI got rendered and hi Kajal is printed. Now we have typed P inside this input box. So this will trigger an on change event. Once the event is triggered, we want to update the same inside our store. So hence we prepared an action object with a property type. This type basically specifies what kind of action is requested by the reducer, or what kind of action is requested and how is it going to be processed by the reducer. Reducers are simple JavaScript functions. Reducers have logic for n number types of actions. You have to understand that it is not working for a single type of action object. It is working for all the kind of actions object, and you can have n number of reducers as well. We differentiate different logics in reducers by this type property. So these reducers, they are simple JavaScript functions, and they takes in two arguments. First is the current state, which this store can provide, right, as it has this copy. So maintained inside the store, this is provided to the reducer. And second is the action object, using which it understands what part of logic to run. So out of many choices, it chooses the logic which has its type as a specified in the action object. So here it returned a new object whose name property is assigned with the data from new name property of action object. And this new object returning from reducer will replace our current state. Yes, like this. So as soon as the current state is updated, the subscribed component is notified about that. And the UI can be rendered again with the new state, the new data. So hi p is printed. Now if we are typing R, same process will occur. On change event is triggered, right? Action object is changed, and this action object is sent to the store. Reducers will be given this current state, and action object, a new state is returned from here, right? And then the state will replace an old state. So now the new state is this state PR with name PR, right? As this state is immutable, hence we cannot change properties directly in old state. Rather, we have to always return a new object from the reducers. And the UI is updated with hi PR. So this process will continue, and as we are typing IYA, events are triggered every time and new action objects are sent, and the same cycle will continue. So this time also, when you have typed whole of this string, the event is triggered. Now action object sent and processed by the reducer. New state object replaces the old one, and the UI got updated. And this is it. So this was an introductory video for Redux with React.js, of course. Basically a SPA application, but we are going to work with React, hence you have to keep in mind about React.js all the time. So thank you. Please subscribe and share if you like the content, and many more videos to come. Thank you.